What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your preview for the game against Wolves at Old Trafford, and thank God it's at Old Trafford because our away form has been horrendous. The lads have nearly had a week off to re-energise and rest. Hopefully we'll see that in the performance tomorrow afternoon, but let's see what the lads think. We've got Sam and Chive on the show. Let's dive straight into it. No introductions needed. Chive, how are you feeling ahead of this massive game?
To be honest, I haven't really had time to think about it. But then I did catch Ten Hag's press conference today. And he said some worrying shit, man. Rashford's injured.
Yep.
And he did, and the journalist kind of pressed to be like, well, do you think he might? And he was like, it's a big question mark. So that means our main goal threat is missing for the game, and we're going to have to really, really every time we've had to rely on everyone else, I don't think they've come through. Remind me if I've forgotten, but every time we've had to rely on these guys, I don't remember anyone really coming through to score when Rashford wasn't there. Garnacho is back, which is good. But I think most encouraging is that we finally had a week off. And I really like what happened after the game at West Ham when Ten Hag gave them 2 days off. Like, just go, relax, don't come in for 2 days. And then you can come back with a clear head. Because that's the best way, I think, to manage the situation instead of just trying to make them play through the funk. And, it might not be such a good idea. So I haven't really had time to think about how I'm approaching this, to be honest, because it was good not to think about. The way the game ended last week, it was just good not to even have to think about them for a week. I don't know, man. It's at home, so the boys should be up for it.
Yeah, for sure. Sam, do you think that the time off from midweek games going to make much of a difference?
You can only hope so, can't you? You can only be like, it has a positive effect because we clearly look absolutely knackered every time we play. We just look like we're struggling, especially in the latter half of games. We seem to come out, play all right in the first half, and then second half we just completely don't have the motivation or energy to do anything. So I think hopefully it has a good effect that the players come back feeling a little bit refreshed. Obviously we've lost Rashford, but he wasn't in form, was he, before that, to be honest with you? Wasn't scoring, wasn't playing that well. So is it a big miss? Question marks there, but Garnacho's back, which is good. He's had another week worth of training. I know he was on the bench against West Ham, but he's had another week's worth of training, so he should be even fitter. And Varane's back as well, which is another plus point. Even though Luke Shaw and Lindelof have been playing really, really well, Varane coming back is always positive. It's good to have that sort of quality in depth. So, yeah, there's positive stuff. And then we're playing at home as well, like you said. So that's another positive. We tend to play a lot better at home. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, agreed. We did say before we went live, knowing our luck, something will break whilst we actually are live. And literally the Times Sport have just reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Rain Group and the Glazers are now willing to enter final talks with Ratcliffe and his team at Ineos to thrash out the world record deal. And then also in the same article, it says sources close to the Qataris believe they remain part of the process, and it could yet be that they respond with an 11th hour bid that forces the Glazers to reconsider. So finally, we're getting some news around the ownership and everything that's going on. The identity of a preferred bidder could be announced within the next few days, with Ratcliffe and his Ineos colleagues seemingly in pole position going into the final stages of what have been a 6-month process. So, lads, can I just get your live reaction to that? We are live right now. I know it's a preview. But, yeah, Chive, just give me a live reaction to that if you can, please.
It's really hard. I don't know what to believe right now, because there have been so many conflicting reports. It seems like the news in England kind of contradicts what the news is in Doha and the Middle East. So it's really hard to really, I really don't know what to make of it. I think if the Time is reporting it, then that means there's some level of credibility there, and it might just be Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and so far it seems like that's where we're headed towards. But I really don't know what to believe now, and I'm actually just tired of the whole process,
I
and I
know.
wish, yeah, I'm sick of it, and just
Do
like whoever takes over, I really don't, I'm not asked anymore. Like I would personally, I would prefer Qatar, just because I think they'd be the best in terms of the managing the club and all that.
you remember when they said
But
it'd be wrapped up in like February, March? Do you remember that?
yeah, they said I remember hearing some shit like that. Like, this is what they always say. This is what we. They never ever since the Ollie thing. I just stopped believing anything
Yeah,
that this club said. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, everything we do gets dragged out, doesn't it? You look at the Jadon Sancho deal, you look at Bruno Fernandes deal, you look at the De Jong thing that went on for 12 weeks, you look at
Yeah.
Sancho's, you look at anything around the club just gets completely dragged out.
bro, we're still trying to sign Wesley Sneijder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gaitan.
But
Still trying to sign
that,
Gaitan.
that, that tells you everything you need to know. We move at snail pace, and the Glazers do it 100% of the time to get as many pennies as they possibly can. And with this Sir Jim bid, Sam, we know what that involves. The Glazers technically staying on. Would that feel like a bit? I know you didn't want Qatar, but would that feel
No.
like a bit of a blow?
I
to
mean,
you?
I don't want Sir Jim either, but the option I want isn't on the table. So, like we've said many times, it's a kick in the balls or a poke in the eye, innit? Like,
Yeah.
there's no win. Like, the fans don't win here. Like, nobody wins here. It's the only winners are going to be the Glazers, and that's how it's always going to be. So, did it say in the article though what the structure of the deal was? Did it? Because apparently Sir Jim had two options, didn't he? He was buy 69% of the club, which is all the Glazer shares, or there was that option to buy the other Glazers out, but then Avram and Joel stay on, wasn't it? They were the two things. I assume
that's what I think.
Yeah, I assume it'd be the latter one, because if that's the preferred bid, I assume that's going to be it, because I think if they were going to go for all of them going, they'd probably go with the Qataris, wouldn't they, just to get entitled all the money and stuff like that. But if they can think they can make 5 billion now, and then in 3 years make another couple of billion, which would mean more than a single buyout, I think that's what they're after. They're looking at
yeah. I didn't think about it that way.
I think that's what I think.
I
Their
really
heads,
didn't think about it. Yeah.
In their heads, I think it was a choice between a big pot of money now, and you just walk off into the sunset, or some of the money now, and then in 3 years, even more money possibility.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they've gone with.
I really don't like the idea of this. I think it's going to hinder us in the future going forward. And I am no financial expert by any stretch of the imagination, but you look at the debt we currently have, the investment that's needed. You need that. I know Qatar's a separate issue. We can discuss that. But you need a big pot to compete with the big clubs now, and you need a big pot for the investment that we need at the minute. And so Jim coming in, doing this deal with the Glazers is not what I wanted. And to sit here for 6 months, to go through all these round of bids, to finally feel like, and I actually remember, funnily enough, Chivi, when I first put it in the chat, and I was like, oh my God, they're finally going. And you actually said, he was like, wait, it's not all done yet. It's not all thingy. Like, they still could stay, or this could still happen. And it seems like they're heading that way. It is the final bid, and as Adam said, need that 11th hour Doha bid. You never know. Qatar could literally just come in and go, fuck this, we're not losing this, mate. We'll give you £6 billion for the club. Yeah. That is a legitimate thing that could happen. It's Qatar.
They don't like to lose, do they? They really don't.
I was just gonna say that, like, they have that pride. Like, he's not gonna want to shake Jassim or whoever's behind him. They're just gonna be like, nah, there's no way we're gonna lose to this guy. But Sir Jim has actually, Sam, you really just opened my eyes to something now. Sure. Like, Sir Jim has actually played a masterstroke with that.
Yeah. He knows he can't compete with Qatari's pockets. Yeah. Like, he can't compete with that.
Yeah, he's played long games, so give them some money now, and then they get a big payout now, and then they're supposed to be majority shareholders, but then also we know they have this Class A and Class B share thing. I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
Yeah.
So their Class B shares actually are worth a lot
power.
More than So it's crazy. They get some money, and then they just get to chill. He gets to take most of the heat now, most of the responsibility. They're just minority shareholders. So hopefully it doesn't work out that way. But I think for me, like, I'm a realist. Like, we're probably heading in that direction of Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and I would just rather have the best of a bad situation. So if he does come in, the only thing I need from him is just to get a fucking competent football director. That's all. If he does that, just
Scouting,
give us a
just
football
some good
director.
scouting system, for the love of Christ. Like,
Give us a football director, and then we
Yeah.
can try and service the debt for the next 20, 15 years. Because once we start to have success as on the pitch, that will translate onto like onto the back end of things. But anyway, this is the preview.
Yeah, just one.
Yeah.
Go
Go on, read
and
out
then
the comments.
Yeah, I'll read because people are reacting to it.
Go for it.
Brian Casey saying, time for Vegas to step up. I mean, he's had his opportunities, hasn't he? Jesus Christ.
I heard him described as a donkey wandering around Westeros the other day. I was laughing my head off. Fucking hilarious.
Brian Casey, I think it was always going to be Sir Jim once it announced the Glazers were going to stay on as a part of it. Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to take more than $6 billion from Qatar to get all the Glazers out. I'd imagine so, and let Ten Hag have full control of transfers. Where does the money for the infrastructure come from under Sir Jim? I think he's betting on the fact because United can be a self-sustaining club. Like, we make enough money to be a self-sustaining club. So I think that's what he's banking on, because he's taken on the debt and putting it on Ineos, which then doesn't inhibit United running as a business. And I think all the profits that we get from commercial, whatever, that we make from that will go back into the club. I think that's how he's going to structure it. I think that's how it's going to... And obviously he'll provide also cash injections along the way, I think.
Both teams, both Qatar and Jim Ratcliffe also have a lot of banks backing them. So when they both came for their presentations, they both came with like, directors and stuff of certain banks. I'm not exactly sure what bank came with what's his name, Sheikh Jassim. I know he was at Credit Suisse.
Didn't he own the Qatari bank?
Yeah, so
QIB.
There's
QIB
the
and then
Qatar
there's
Islamic
Swiss
Bank.
bank.
Yeah, and then he was also at Credit Suisse. I think they came, but I know with and another bank from America. I'm not sure which one it was, but both teams have backing.
Yeah.
Bank backing or whatever.
Yeah. Bit of banking, bit of backing, bit of both. We remember as well the key words that he said back in November. Avram Glazer, when he got interviewed, he looked like a worm straight out of a mud hole. It was weird as fuck. But the interview that he gave, he was like, "Yeah, we're going to look for all strategic alternatives, and we're going to do this." And that's always been the words that they've used: strategic alternatives. And if Jim Ratcliffe is providing this, then that's the route they're going to go down, because they get to stay, they get to make more money off the club. I'm just concerned, one, the financial side of things, and two, how he's operated at Nice. And I know we've had discussions about this before, Chive, but if you really look into it, it's not been great at all.
Yeah.
The whole thing, I'd employ anyone to go have a look at it. It's not amazing.
You actually opened my eyes to that, because to be honest with you, I just had like a plain, just sort of like a surface view of the whole thing. I didn't really delve deep into it. There were some journalists who made a good argument, and I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense. But then when you sort of did a deep dive into it, I sort of saw what you were talking about, and there's a few things that are a bit worrying about this guy, Sir Jim. But I won't really go into it.
Yeah, to be honest, it should be saved for a separate show. It's just a shame it's happened whilst we're live for a preview right now. But do continue to get your comments in. We'll read them out. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around these parts. We are playing Wolves, lads, tomorrow, despite all the glaring news that we've just partly discussed. In a game where top four actually hanging in the balance somehow. I have no idea how. We're only a point above Liverpool, but I think we've got a game in hand on them. For Wolves, they are safe from relegation, so we're not sure what their motivation is. For the rest of the game. They're already safe, so they're going to be professional about it, but they've not got a big motive to go for. The wheels with United, I don't know what it is. It's really started to fall off. A draw to West Ham, a defeat to Brighton, 2-0 lead bottle to Spurs. The results against Sevilla were just horrendous. We really need to pull something out of the bag here, or there's a very, very real possibility that Liverpool get top four over us, which is absolutely disastrous. And Chivi, coming into this game with a few key players missing, Wolves like to make it difficult, as we know. Defensively, we've been okay, but where are the goals going to come from now? Marcus Rashford is out with a big leg injury, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And just off the top of my head, I might be wrong, but I think he's been the one, because we've had a lot of 1-0 wins over Wolves in recent years, and I think it's all been Rashford.
Yeah. Well, the one against Wolves was 1-0, and that was Rashford.
That was Rashford. And then last season, I think like the last 3 games has just been Rashford scoring against Wolves. I might be wrong, but I can't think of anyone
He
else.
was
I know.
suspended. He talked about the squad, didn't he? Because he was late to a meeting in that game,
Yeah,
and
then
then
he
he
came.
came off
Yeah,
the bench,
that
didn't
was
he?
this season. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then last season, I remember Varane scored and it got chalked off. Then I think Rashford got like an 80th or 90th minute winner or something
Scruffy
like that.
1 minute deflection.
Yeah, one of them ones. I think it's happened like twice. But
Mm.
anyway, tomorrow we don't have Rashford. We've got.
His brain just went.
Yeah, no, because I'm thinking like who's gonna score, like, because that was the question. That was the question you asked, and I'm thinking about like goal scorers and like who's gonna do it. Is it Bruno? Are we gonna have to rely on like a free kick or like a penalty or I don't know. But then just to touch on something you said earlier on, you said, you know, we're kind of like on a downward spin and you're not entirely sure what's going on. I genuinely believe that this capitulation is down to fatigue, not just physically but also mentally. And I don't think this only Manchester City has the same problems as we do and survives it. Nobody else has the depth of that squad. Nobody else has. It's crazy that we haven't had a whole week off. The only time we did was during the international break, and the players were traveling and playing football. So we haven't had. Arsenal is playing a week. They look fresh. They're playing 1 game a week. They've lost 1 defender and they're crumbling.
Newcastle the same. That's why Newcastle above us. They're playing 1 game a week.
Yeah, they're playing 1 game a week, so they're fresh. They have a training. They can afford 2 training sessions and probably 1 recovery session.
Yeah.
We can't even have 2 of them. Like it's either training or recovery or none. You know, so it's one of them ones. But sorry, Nick, to go off on a tandem. To answer your question, we have to look. I mean, this is where Brian Casey said it. Like we've said it a lot of times. We need Virgos to step up. We need Martial to step up. We need Anthony.
Sancho.
Because the biggest problem we've had is not conceding goals. Our goalkeeper has the highest clean sheets. Some crazy stat that I don't know where that came from. How?
Defenders have looked good as well. The defenders have looked
good. We've had a really good defense. We just can't score goals. Like, look at the goal difference with everyone in the top 6. Like, the difference is clear. That has been the problem, scoring goals. And I don't know where that's going to come from. But I mean, the fans will probably have to. We've heard this used a lot of times with commentary. Like the fans have to suck the ball into the net, basically, since we're playing at home. But honestly, Nick, I don't know how to answer your question because I don't know where the goals will come from. Honestly, it's going to be some unsung hero, Luke Shaw, Dallo, or someone like.
Yeah. Well, if Vegas ever needs the time to score his first Premier League goal, mate, it's right now.
Yeah.
Sam, is your boy Garnacho capable of stepping in and doing the role, or do you think Ten Hag might go for more with a Sancho on that side?
I think if he was fit enough to be on the bench, wasn't he, against West Ham, but he didn't come on. So I think after a week's, they've had 2 days off and a week proper training, I think he should be fresh and ready to come in to this game. This should be like, with Rashford being out as well, like I don't know of a better opportunity. Do you know what I mean? Just chuck him in and see what he can do. I'm sure he's raging to get on the pitch. I'm sure he's like been absolutely like gasping to try and get on the pitch. We've seen him when he came in before. Like he's saved us in a couple of situations, like the Fulham game before the World Cup comes to mind. The West Ham game as well in the FA Cup. Is it the FA Cup? Or was it the Carabao?
West Ham, Ben Rama scored and then Garnacho scored.
Like so he's come in moments as a clutch player. So Villa again. So I think why not give him the opportunity? Because Sancho isn't cutting it in a minute. Like he's had moments, but let's be honest, he isn't doing it. He doesn't fancy Palestri for some reason, Ten Hag, even though when he has played, I think he's been bright and good. I think he's deserved opportunities. And then Anthony's been up and down, hasn't he? Like he's had good games, and then he's had nothing games, and then he's had games where he's a C- at best. So it's tricky. We don't have any players who are like hitting any sort of form. So Garnacho might be that spark that you could bring in and just chuck him on and see what he can do. Will he start him? I don't think so. but it's a great option to have off the bench. Say it's 0-0, 70 odd minutes, and we need something. We're struggling. Vegas is doing what Vegas does, which is nothing. Maybe then he's an option to chuck on, put Martial down the middle, get Garnacho on the left, and just see if we can create something. Because I think that, like Chivy said, I don't know where the goals are going to come from in this team. I really don't. I'm struggling to see how we score.
I'm struggling as well.
Can we just email Sunderland and be like, just give us
Ahmad. Give me back.
Yeah, can't be done. Can't be done, can it?
One of us could just send an email on behalf of, and then there'll be a training, and then Ahmad just turns up. It's like, what are you doing here? So I got the email saying.
Do you not get the email? Is it just me who got the email? Yeah, apparently they need me. They need me on the way back. And that is someone who has been scoring goals. Unfortunately, we haven't had many. I was actually checking before, Chive. United have only conceded 9 goals at home this season, and they've only lost 1, which is at the start against Brighton. Yeah. So obviously our home form's tremendous. Defensively, apparently at home as well, have been fantastic. So what angle, you've kind of touched on it already, but what angle do we look at? Do we look at it like we need a clinical striker to kill games off, or do we have certain players in the group who struggle with mentality away from home, or is it a blend of both, do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both, but more like we need to kill games off, because if you look at the West Ham game, they had 1 shot, right, in that first half, and then that's where they got the goal. And then they kind of got like confidence from that. And the Brighton game, it was like literally the last kick of the game where Luke Shaw kind of, so it's so fine margins. Yeah, it's fine margins. We're kind of just at the cusp of actually being really good. But if we then have someone to capitalize on all the chances that these players, because we're creating mad chances. We just need someone to put them away. So I think it's a bit of both, but we also need, because goals bring confidence during the game. And I think once we start putting those goals away, we have more swag. You can see like the passes are connecting. But one thing we've noticed, especially away, is when we go down, it's really
collapse.
They just capitulate basically.
I've got a stat to back you up, Chivy. I put it in the group chat today, actually. Man United have created 72 big chances in the Premier League, which is more than Arsenal, who created 69, but we've scored 34 fewer goals. That says it all, man, doesn't it? It says it all.
That's just mad.
Yeah. Goes to show you have a Harry Kane in that team. He murders them chances. The ones that we've had, some of the ones you see in the games, you're like, how the fuck have we not finished that? Anthony himself has about, anyone who's going to put a bet, I'm not advising people to bet, but if you're going to, just put a bet on Anthony having 5+ shots and them all going wide. Because he does it every game. Every single game. God. He does this. Yeah. Just for people currently joining, if you want to see the reaction to Sir Jim Ratcliffe in the final stages, all this news that's coming out, we did speak about it at the start. So if you want to rewind and take a look at that, and then you can dive into the Wolves preview with us as well. That the option is there. But yeah, it is a worry. The defensive stat kind of surprised me, especially when you consider the injuries that we've had. We've had a few people out. Obviously, Lissandro out long term now. Varane's been here and there. We've had Maguire playing a couple of games. Luke Shaw coming in at centre back. With Varane back now, Sam, you touched on it before again, but would you bring him back in and push Luke Shaw out onto the left? Do you think that's the right way to go?
I think we've been playing well with Shaw and Lindelof. I don't see the reason to change it. And I think if he's only just come back, do you want to risk throwing him in and then re-injuring him when potentially we could really need him for, like, say, the FA Cup final or something like that? I think our defence has been fine and we've been doing well enough. I don't think we need to chuck him in unnecessarily. I think Shaw's been good. I think Malacia and Dallo at left back have been decent. Lindelof's been great. Wan-Bissaka, etc. So I think we've been all right. I don't think we need to chuck him in unnecessarily. I think maybe chuck him on the last 10-15 minutes, let him get legs underneath him, some minutes and stuff like that. Just introduce him in the next couple of games like that. By the time we get to the FA Cup final, he's 100% firing and fit. We can slot him into the back there, and then we can put Shaw back to left back where he's really effective. So I don't think we need to chuck him in if we don't need to. I think our defence has been good.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. From defence to the goalkeeper, Chive, is a call for David De Gea to be dropped stupid, considering the replacements? Would you genuinely even consider it? Because after that West Ham game, everyone was calling for the head, weren't they? Yeah. For his head, should I say.
I think Butland would be pissed off because like he's probably already like on holiday mode.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I have to go to work now.
Popcorn in his hands, just eating it with a pint on the side. Like,
I was coming here to get paid and just do fuck
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
I might actually have to.
I don't know. I think it might be a little bit too rash to immediately just axe him and bring someone in. And I like what Ten Hag is saying. Like he's not openly bashing his goalkeeper. Like he's showing public support for him. But then you know that deep down, behind the scenes, he's the first thing he did. He probably sent a text to some of the before he even left the pitch at West Ham. Like, find me a goalkeeper right now. Yeah, he probably just did that before he left. He was like, yeah, keeper now. But now we should go with him. I mean, he's had a few errors. Well, quite a few costly errors. I may add this season. But I think at this point you just have to stick with.
Yeah, just drag it through like we're dragging everything else.
Drag it through, and now it's on him. Now he's a senior player. It's up to you now to save us. Now, don't let any stupid things come in.
Yeah.
I think one thing about De Gea is that he's never competition. We saw with Luke Shaw, competition brings the best out of him, and he's just there chilling. He knows that he let 2-3 goals go in and nothing's. So
he's got a big fat contract as well, like 370. He's highest paid. Is he the highest paid player at the club?
He is.
Yep.
He is.
So he's like I think complacency can slip in there, can't it? You're the highest paid player at the club. Like you said, you got no competition. There's no young goalkeeper pushing you for your place. The only guy who's pushing you is Tom Heaton, who's an older goalkeeper. And let's face it, he's not gonna do anything. And Jack Butland's who's on loan, so he's not even gonna be here next season. So you just I think sometimes complacency can sort of slip in.
I've got a conspiracy theory. I think with all this news now, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe potentially taking over in the final stages, and he obviously owns Nice, I think they're going to get Kasper Schmeichel, bring him in on a free, and then they're going to sell the Schmeichel story. Like, his son's back here to win something.
It's not good enough. He's not good
enough.
enough.
He's not.
I could definitely see that.
He's
not Schmeichel, imagine the signing, like all the things behind it, the PR.
He's not even half the player his dad was. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not even.
Oh my god! Do you know if I was in marketing at the Manchester United, I would actually just make that video now.
Yeah,
just keep
just in case. Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, because it's gonna happen. So that when they ask me to do, just make it now. Get all the B-rolls and everything going, and then.
Well, if you're going off any of the Nice recruitment, we're going to end up with all the washed out Premier League players. They've got like Ross Barkley, Nicolas Pepe, fucking Kasper Schmeichel, and all the random players there. Aaron Ramsey.
Why do you say it like that, Schmeichel?
Schmeichel. What?
Schmeichel. Yeah, but you go Schmeichel.
Oh, I don't know. It just sounds cooler.
Schmeichel.
Schmeichel. I don't know. That's how I've always said it. Anyway. Slightly off tangent again. Bringing it back to Wolves, since Lopetegui's come in, he seems to have steadied the ship and saved them from the relegation scrap. They looked like they was going right down, not scoring any goals at all.
They did get
conceding
battered
shitloads
a couple of weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah, they got battered by Brighton, which is something you can kind of hold on to, but they are safe now. And Lopetegui, that's just again. It comes back to the league. You look at Unai Emery in charge of Dinger, in charge of Aston Villa. You got Lopetegui in charge of Wolves. Like, you have world class managers in the bottom half of the table. It's mental. But it tells you a lot, Sam, when Ruben Neves is their top goal scorer. They do struggle for goals, which is clear, and they can frustrate teams and hit you on the counter attack. Does anyone from Wolves specifically worry you?
No, I expected a lot more from that Mateus Cunha that they brought in. I thought he's going to be a problem, but he just hasn't cut it, has he? Like, has he scored like what, 2 goals?
Matheus Nunes.
No,
Mateus Cunha.
Cunha from Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Oh yeah.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I was expecting something from him, but he didn't. He's just not cut it. And then their other option is a fading Diego Costa. And
Jesus,
that's their
fading. It's an understatement. Broken.
That's their...
Sam's done it now. Sam's done it.
He's going to score. He's going to score.
Yeah.
He's done
Costa,
it now,
90th minute.
No. The Cunha guy. The Cunha guy.
Yeah. Oh, right. I thought it was about Costa.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have to clip this for Instagram.
Yeah, that's gonna go down well. Yeah, but yeah. Ruben Neves, at set pieces, he's very, very good. He seems to be the heart of that team. It's surprising he's still there, to be honest with you. Honestly, I thought he should have moved on a long time ago. He's too good for Wolves, but yeah, he's still there. I know they've just got back, is it Neto? He's just come back, hasn't he, from injury, the winger.
Not sure.
He's quite decent. I like him. I know. Is Podence out?
Podence.
Still injured? Podence?
I don't know. To be honest, I usually get the injury record to both sides. I only got one side because it's been so busy today. I've literally just not.
So they've got players who sometimes are quite good, I think, but this season they've just about got by. And United versus Wolves is always a shit game. It's always an awful game. It's always like a 1-0, 0-0, just bollocks. Like a horrible game, so I don't expect much. If we can sneak, like Chivy said, a penalty or a set piece or something and just get away with a 1-0 win, I'll take that. I don't care. Just give me the 3 points and let's just fucking move on. Couple of chats. Sharias Garnacho will have a big role tomorrow. I hope so. And then Brian Casey, there's literally no one we can rely on. We hope we can put Marshall out, stay fit. Anthony can start putting away a couple of goals. 15 shots a game and he still can't score. Sancho can grow a pair of balls and perform. He's not happy with Sancho. Adam, I'm worried about our goal difference. We missed out on top 4 and a title because of goal difference. Same points as Liverpool and we're screwed. Yeah. Apparently the Qatari offer was less than £5 billion, Adam's saying. And then Brian Casey, I've been saying it for weeks. Kane makes the difference. And then he's also saying highest paid goalkeeper in the world, De Gea. So, yeah.
Insane. He's on 3 times the amount that Edison's on, I think, at Man City. And I think Alisson's on just under 200k a week as well. So that just shows you the contracts that we give out. Absolutely stupid. Just a quick throwaway question. Sam mentions Ruben Neves there, Juvie. Is he someone you'd look at for United? Is someone you consider?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Like when Sam mentioned Neves, my heart just sank immediately because I was like, he always plays well against United.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot about this guy. Like, we're going to have to deal with him tomorrow. For United, 1,000% I'll take.
How much did they want from last season? Was it 90?
Well, they was putting out there 100 million, but it's not like a bargaining chip. You just set your thing high, and then you come down, it don't look as much then. I think that's the plan from them.
Player, like leadership qualities.
Got a blend of everything, hasn't he?
Everything.
He's aggressive, set pieces.
Yeah, tech, long passes, short passes, tackling, awareness, vision. He's
I like
ideal.
him a lot. I like him a lot.
Absolutely, 1,000%. And he would be a big hit with the fans. I imagine he would be great in the dressing room as well. And I like that he's a leader. I love that. Like we need people like we need that. We need balls basically midfield. I'll 100% take him.
And you don't really get heavily linked to Barcelona unless you're some player, do you? Like, there's heavy links with Neves going there and then Ansu Fati going the other way as well. Just a quick update on the head-to-head record. So in the last 5 games between Wolves and Manchester United, we've won 4, they've won 1, and only 7 goals scored in them 5 games. So very similar vibes to the West Ham game. Quite literally, it's going to be a drag. Before we do the quick fires, lads, just again update: McTominay, Lisandro, Donny, now Marcus Rashford sidelined with injury. Garnacho, Varane are back from long spells out. So,
do we know what's up with McTominay? Yeah,
no idea. Just he's on his way to Newcastle.
Like, it's been like he's been injured for ages and not said what it is like at all. So
you never get clarity though with Manchester United on injuries.
No, but like we know Donny is, we know what Lisandro is, we knew what Varane was, we know what Rashford is, the leg injury, but they've said nothing about what McTominay's injury is. So it's bizarre.
Maybe he's just having a spell of golf or some shit doing a Gareth Bale.
Yeah,
no idea.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah. One surprise. Ingrown toenail, says Brian Kane said. Yeah. He's out for a month with an ingrown toenail. That's some serious ingrown toenail, that. Anyway, let's do some quick fires. So, tomorrow afternoon, Manchester United versus Wolves in the Premier League. Will United score more than 1?
No.
Oh, set it up. Will we keep a clean sheet?
Yes.
I think we're all going to have the same score prediction here. Does Varane start?
No.
No, it doesn't.
Would you rather have Eriksen or Neves in your team?
Neves.
Oh my.
Not that I don't. I love Eriksen. I think he's a fantastic player, but I just think Neves has that passing ability and the stuff that Eriksen offers, plus the physicality. Eriksen don't have the physicality.
Yeah, I'll just go Neves
Traitor.
just to keep it. So yeah. But anyway, go on.
Will Casemiro get a yellow card?
Oh, fuck's sake. Has he got any suspensions? If he gets a yellow,
Probably.
is he suspended?
I've not checked, but let's be honest. If he gets one, he's probably going
He's
to
been
suspended.
picking up yellows, literally.
I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, honestly.
Yeah.
I can
And
see
then he
it.
picks up a yellow, and then he can't even. Then you could just tell it's affecting him. He probably gets one tomorrow. Probably see some old Barcelona players and goes for them.
Yeah, I can see it.
Now this is the most difficult one out of the lot. Prediction for man of the match.
Luke Shaw. I mean, just to play it safe.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Shaw as well.
All right then. Let's do some predicted 11s. Who wants to kick it off? Anyone?
Yeah. David De Gea. I don't think he drops him. I think he just stays in just because you can't bring Butland in at this point in the season. It's just not going to be a thing, is it? And if he has just signed a new deal or agreed a new deal, I think he's probably going to start him. Wan-Bissaka right back. I think Luke Shaw and Lindelof continue.
Oh, was you going to say Lissandro then?
I was going to say Lissandro. I don't know why.
I was like,
I wish. Yeah. I wish. I fucking wish.
I know.
I think we probably see Malacia at left back instead of Dalot. Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno in the midfield. Weghorst up top, Martial on the left, and Anthony on the right.
The donkey from Westeros up top. Yeah. Chive, what are you going for?
The same team with Sam, but I would go Martial up top and on the left.
And who on the left? You cut out then, sorry.
Sancho.
Yeah. I've gone De Gea, Dalot. I think Varane, Lindelof start. Shaw moves back out to left back. Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Anthony, Sancho, Martial up top. And then Garnacho to come off the bench and probably do something.
Brian Casey's saying David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Lindelof, Dalot at left back. Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Sancho, Anthony, and Martial up top.
Yeah, actually, that's my. So you went with Malacia, instead of Dalot.
Yeah, I went with Shaw.
Yeah, so my team, literally what Brian just said.
Interesting. Apparently, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's returning to Old Trafford for the first time tomorrow.
Yeah, he was in Wivenshaw. My mate saw him. He was in Wivenshaw today.
Really?
He texted me and said, I've just seen Ollie in Wivenshaw.
That's
weirdly.
Very, very, very random. Maybe he's scouting out another Marcus Rashford, who knows. Score prediction, people.
1-0.
Bland.
1-0.
Yeah, 1-0 United.
I've not even gone 1-0.
The drum roll.
Are you going 0-0?
I'm going 0-0.
Oh,
yeah, I think.
God.
0-0, another life-draining game where we miss crucial chances. And prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong.
Oh, no. I can't. Unbelievable! You're not going to hear that. Definitely not.
No, you're definitely not. You're going to hear,
yeah.
That's
Jesus
what you're going to hear.
Christ.
Just raw frustration. Yeah, 0-0 draw. Obviously, there's no goal scorers. So you both think 1-0. Who's going to get the goal, lads?
1-0 Bruno, probably.
1-0.
Yeah, I can see a penalty.
1-0, and then Garnacho off the bench. Score.
Garnacho off the bench to score.
I
hope you're right.
Brian Casey's saying 1-1. Shout out to Shah Sam. 2-0 United. And Adam saying, Ollie's showing up tomorrow at Old Trafford. So, yeah.
Interesting. We've got a lot of ultras in the chat. If you want to become a real red ultra, make sure you click that join button next to the notification bell for exclusive content every Monday, badge next to your name, and a chance to feature on the show when we get the full starting 11. Big up to everyone who supports the channel consistently. We appreciate every single one of you. And that, guys, is the end of the preview. Like we said, we discussed the Sir Jim Ratcliffe news at the start of the show. So if you did miss that, rewind and check it out and let us know what you think. And let us know your score predictions. Leave them in the chat. And I suppose we'll see you for the game tomorrow. There won't be no watch along. I am at a gig. I'm at Tom Segura. Very rare when there isn't a watch along. But yeah, there isn't one tomorrow. So apologies for that. But it is a 3 o'clock kickoff. So it's one of them.
I'll be at the game as well. So I'm going to the game. So that'll be. I'm hoping it's not a shit game because fuck me, I don't know if I can sit through this.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I wouldn't be getting a ticket for that anyway. I think that's going to be. I'll be proved wrong happily, but I just think it's got 0-0 written all over that.
I was at that Aston Villa game last season, when we lost 1-0. Terrible.
Is that Conter or Courtney?
No, somebody. House was his name.
Yeah.
That was,
89th minute.
and I was sat just underneath the Villa fans, so that was even just. Yeah, you could. We're just getting it all day.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible.
Not great. Yeah, let's hope for a win tomorrow, guys. Lots of stuff going on with Manchester United at the minute. So as always, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Drop us a follow on socials, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter for regular updates and clips from the show. And we'll see you tomorrow for the review, I think.
You know what, as well? You're probably going to see us later tonight, because if this news continues to pop off, that you're probably going to see us later tonight. So make sure you have the notification bell on so you know exactly when we go live. So
it could literally start bubbling up now with Qatar coming in and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, we will go live as and when it happens. But for now, it's goodbye. We'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Peace.